Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching AskBQ on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good afternoon, Navneet. I'm Agam Vakil. If you've got questions on equity, this is the perfect show for you. Send your questions to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. You can call us also on 022-454-0441. Of course, mail us at askbq@bloombergquint.com. But do make sure you do add the AskBQ hashtag.
All right, before we get to the individual queries on the show, let's quickly take a look at the markets. I think the only good part is we're still in the green, but we're off the opening levels at least. I think Nifty is off 100 points from day's high, 11,231, still sitting with gains, however, 100 points. Remember, among the Asian market indices as well, Hang Seng had given all its gains, and precisely post that, you'd seen some correction coming in intraday for Indian equities as well. Sensex up about 250 points. Market breadth, by the way, has deteriorated. So we'll talk about the mid-cap, small-cap indices. But look at that. When we opened, it was firmly in favor of the advances, and now it's just about even-steven when it comes to market breadth. The mid-cap as well as the small-cap indices too have come off the high point of the day. But still, as I said, the only good part is we are still in the green. Mid-cap index up 1%, small-cap also sitting with gains of about 0.7%. Volatility, which had cooled off 5 to 6% in the opening session, is right now just about trading flat. So 25 is really a higher level for India VIX as well. I want to pull up the Nifty contributors list, which gives us an indication which are the stocks which are capping the moves today on the upside. So your heavyweight, I guess, HDFC Bank is trading in red, and a couple of other stocks like Bajaj Auto, Bajaj Finance, and the other heavyweight ITC are not doing too much. But clear support coming in from the other set of heavyweights. Reliance Industries, ICICI Bank, HDFC and Infosys are the ones which are contributing to the gains. Sectorally, most of your sectoral indices are still sitting with some bit of gains, though they would have come off the high point of the day. But you've got the Nifty Metals Index, which is still up and about. You've got the Media Index, which has seen some bit of gains after you saw a sharp correction for stocks like PVR and Inox Leisure yesterday. Then you've got Nifty Pharma, which is doing pretty well. That's up about 3.5%. Just want to highlight a few gainers. So Pyramid Enterprises and IT Technologies, which has been relatively a stronger stock. Godrej Consumer, they continue their move today. While on the losing side, you've got Mindtree, Cadila Healthcare and Jubilant FoodWorks. All these three stocks have seen correction in today's session. The losers list should, by the way, come up on your screen. Mindtree, Cadila Healthcare and Jubilant FoodWorks. Jubilant has, by the way, recovered from the lower levels, but net, I think market breadth deteriorating is not a great sign, Agam.
Yeah, certainly, Navneet. I agree with you out there. And of course, it has taken a turn for the worse. But on that note, it's time to get in our experts for today. We have Aditya Agarwal of Yes Securities and T.S. Harihar of HRBV Client Solutions, who are here with us to answer all your queries. Welcome to the show, guys. And with that, we start quickly by taking a look at, well, a handful of queries. Okay, I'm going to take one up from Riddhish Shah. He wants a short-term view on Polycab. The time horizon is 1 to 3 months. Polycab is one of those stocks, at least so far, has not corrected as much, considering it's trending still above the mark of 1,000. Aditya, what's the view here?
So it's going through consolidation at the moment. I believe on the downside, 1,000 to about 950 should act as a good support area. You should, if you're looking to accumulate the stock around those areas, those will be good levels to get your hands on. If you're already long in the stock, probably put a stop at 1,000 or 950 and continue to hold on to the stock. After a good run-up, stock will go through a consolidation, and that consolidation phase right now.
Okay, that's Polycab for you. Let's also talk about metal companies. Rahul Tiwari on YouTube writes to us. Mr. Harihar, I'll come to you for this one. He's bought 1,000 shares of Tata Steel at levels of 585. And of course, we know how the metal companies have corrected in the recent past. What he wants to know is fundamentally, should he look to average?
I think tough call, because I don't know how much time it will take to get to 580. So let's say even if he gets, if he averages at this price, he would get an average cost of about 460 or 470. And frankly, I think at this point of time, there's no clear visibility in how steel is going to pan out. See, for steel to actually pan out, you need a lot of things like good demand, solid growth. Nothing of that kind is happening. So if you're looking at averaging, I think I don't see any visibility in the near to even medium term. So the best thing is either he gets out of the stock or he just leaves it at that particular price and looks at other stocks at this point of time.
Okay, from there on, we move on to a technical query on APL Apollo. We have Praveen Matthews who wants a technical view on APL Apollo, but I reckon that's just towards a slightly longer term basis. Can we add at these levels? What's the target and stop loss? Aditya.
So I would not recommend him to add at current levels. 2200 was the target, and it hit 2200. From there, stock is clawing back to the breakout point, which was 1700, 1660 to 1700 was the breakout point, and from there stock saw a sharp surge to 2200. Now, if he's looking to average again or add on to his existing positions, probably wait for this correction till 1700, and that will be a good area to add, not at current levels. Wait for this pullback to end somewhere between 1700 and 1660.
Okay, the stock's still holding up with some bit of gains today, up about 4% in trade. Aditya, if someone bought Bajaj Finance yesterday at 4452 and currently the stock's at 4418, what would you advise? Exit or put a stop loss?
Hold on to it. 4300 is acting as a very good support for the stock. Last 3 trading sessions, the stock has tested 4300 and it's not broken that. These are cash levels I'm talking of. So hold on to it, put a stop at 4300, and you might just see a short covering rally towards levels of 4500 to about 4600 on the upside. Nifty 2 just managing up its back again to 100-point gains. So you can have a late hour pullback in these stocks. So just hold on to it, put a stop at 4300.
Okay, well, Mr. Harihar, we have a question on insurance companies as well. But okay, actually, I'll come to that in a bit because they're all technical queries. I'll come to the fundamental view on LNG play right now. How do you play this theme? What about city gas distributors against pipe manufacturers? Matt Matthew wants to know. Mr. Harihar, how would you play the entire gas theme for that matter here?
So there are different ways to look at it. I think if you look at the city gas distributors, I think that is where a lot of growth is going to happen, with 400 districts likely to be covered by the city gas networks. I think that is where the biggest growth is going to happen. But which are the companies that will benefit? I, for one, am extremely positive on GAIL. And I think if you look at the kind of massive investments that GAIL is planning, 1.15 trillion over the next probably 5 to 6 years, huge infrastructure to cater to all these gas suppliers. I think they are the guys who are going to get the royalty income. So I would rather prefer someone like GAIL, and GAIL is awfully underpriced. It's about 95 or 96, I think, is the current price. Yeah. And you're getting a dividend yield of about 5 to 6%. So the downside risk, in my view, is not great. And if the so-called gas plans or the gas mix in the energy equation changes favorably, I think GAIL should be the biggest beneficiary.
Okay, and a lot of these PSUs, by the way, have been offering you great dividend yield at these levels. Okay, Pragya Das writes to us an email, and she wants to know between Bata and Relaxo, which is a better bet with a long-term perspective. Mr. Harihar, I'll come to you. Both the stocks have done well, but if somebody wants to take a fresh bet at current levels in terms of valuation, what do you think is better?
It's Bata versus Relaxo, right?
Yes.
We have been very positive on Relaxo. Bata actually had a retail real estate kind of a story, and I think that story has played out substantially. If you look at actually the last 10 or 12 years, I think Relaxo has been an amazing outperformer. It's like a kind of a multi-bagger which you can't even imagine. And this is a company that comes with a very, very low-end product, has managed to brand something that is normally not branded, caters to a very mass market, has done extremely well quarter on quarter, great margins, and it plays both. It plays the retail, it plays the necessities, and it also operates in an area where the GST rates are very low. So I would believe that Relaxo clearly is a stock that I would prefer over Bata.
Okay. Well, a question on a handful of banking stocks. There are actually quite a few which have been posed by electronic videos, but I'm just going to take the basics perhaps. Aditya, I'm sure you may have a handle on HDFC Bank, Axis Bank and ICICI Bank. I know these are too many banks to take into consideration, but anything that stands out for you at this point?
So HDFC and ICICI, they both stand out for me. HDFC Bank, so I'll give you just a quick update on HDFC Bank. It doesn't break its 200 DMA, but whenever HDFC Bank does break its 200 DMA, you see a shallow correction and then stock bounces back to make its all-time high. Right. Currently, stock is trading below its 200 DMA, so it's a great buying opportunity. So many people say that the stock has broken 200 DMA, it's a short. But unlike HDFC Bank, whenever it breaks its 200 DMA, it might fall just 5% or 6% down. From there, stock reverses and makes a new all-time high. Okay. So probably it's a great time to get into HDFC Bank. We've already seen an underperformance from 1300. Stock has fallen to 1170, holding on to 1160 support. So these are good levels to get into HDFC Bank. And ICICI Bank definitely has been an outperformer. I'll stick my neck out there and favor ICICI over Axis Bank.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Harihar, we're getting a lot of queries on, a recent favorite of the markets that's been IRCTC. Everybody wants to know whether, post the correction that we've seen, one should look to enter or not. Of course, it's got a monopoly in rail tourism, but now with the coronavirus cases being reported in India as well, people would tend to refrain from crowded places, and that will include traveling. We've seen how stocks of Interglobe and SpiceJet had reacted, for that matter, even PVR and Inox. Just for a long-term perspective, I'm asking, do you think these are good levels or it's still expensive?
No, see, if you look at it in terms of valuations, probably in the 80-85 times you can argue that they're expensive. But I give this analogy. You're getting IRCTC about $3.7 billion valuation. You got a hugely loss-making Flipkart at $16 billion. What are you complaining about? So if you look at it that way, and let's not forget that IRCTC is nothing but one of the purest internet players in India. 18 million customers, close to 1 billion touch points every month. You really can't beat that. So I think a lot will depend on how the strategy evolves, how they're able to sell the concept, how they're able to get out of that government/railways mentality. But I think this is a stock with a huge potential. And if well managed, I keep underlining that, if well managed and well organized, I think this could be a stock that can give crazy levels of returns over the next probably 3 or 4 years. I wouldn't read too much into the coronavirus because I think there have been about 2 reported cases in India, and I don't know how many are there. And so I don't think it's as dangerous as people are making it out to be. So probably I think whatever the price correction kind of factors that in. So I wouldn't read too much into that. But yes, for me, it's one of the best internet plays that you can get in India.
Okay, well, we take a query up from Sneh, and it's on State Bank of India. I believe the Sneh had also put up this query earlier on in the FNO show, so most certainly going to take this one up. Holding SBI at 323, should I hold, average, or exit? The horizon is 1 to 2 months. What's the view here, Aditya?
So 285 to about 283, Alex, is the very strong support for the stock. It happens to be 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level. If that is broken and stock sustains below 283, you should be out of your trade. In that case, stock can slide all the way down back to 250. If 283 holds, then probably you can have 310, 320 again. I would not recommend averaging at current levels because you clearly don't know at the moment whether it will hold or not.
All right.
Okay, that's SBI for you. Let's just pull up Cholamandalam Investment and check where that stock's been trading. Remember, this has also performed well. 304 is the current level where the stock is trading. Akshay Mittal has written to us. Aditya, I think he's entered at 317. He wants to know what should be his target and stop loss, and he's also asking whether he should look to make another fresh entry into Cholamandalam or in fact buy Manappuram Finance at current levels.
So Cholamandalam, I would not recommend him averaging at current levels. Probably you can continue to hold on to it. It's closing to it's nearing its 200 DMA, and also previous cluster of supports, which is 290, 293 zone. So it's just 10 point away from current market price. So hold on to it, put a stop at 290, and hope for a pullback to levels of 320. Do not go for averaging at current levels. On the flip side, Manappuram, yes, you can actually look to start nibbling it at 160, but don't go all in. Just buy 50% of your investment if you want to, and look for a correction to levels of 150 to actually buy all in.
Value buys at current correction. I suppose this will be a question that we will start getting in quite often. Mr. Harihar, value buys at this point in time, do you see anything that you like?
Quite a lot. In fact, SBI I think is a great buy. I think you just discussed SBI, and I've been telling a lot of my investors that if you look at SBI as a sum of its parts, you are getting SBI at about 2,65,000 crores of market cap. And if you add up the market cap of SBI fund, hypothetical market cap compared to HDFC, you add up the SBI Life market cap and the market cap of SBI cards to the extent that SBI holds, that is roughly about 60% of the current market cap of SBI. If you add up the other smaller subsidiaries and the other investments that SBI has in everything from NSE to whatever, that's about 75% of the current. So out of 2,60,000, 2,20,000 crores you get in the form of equity. So you are actually getting the whole of banking business of 40,000 crores. Now, if you look at it that way, I think SBI to me looks to be a great buy at these prices. So especially it's corrected from about 360 down to about 280 or whatever. I think it's a great level to buy SBI. If you take a long-term perspective, I don't say that anything will happen in the next 3 or 6 months, but take a 2-year perspective, I think SBI should be a great value pick.
What about ONGC? Would you buy that at these levels?
See, I have a problem with a lot of these PSU companies because I think the government has managed to successfully, just empty the coffers. If you look at ONGC, I think they had a cash balance of 25,000 crores about 6 years back. Today it's about 150 crores. And an average oil extractor should have a cash balance of close to about 5,000 to 6,000 crores. The $1 billion is what they recommend. So I think that is one of the reasons the ONGC is correcting so sharply, because people know that tomorrow, even if the oil price goes up, they just don't have the required cash balance, because most of that has gone into buying HPCL and buying Gujarat Petronet and things which they never needed in the first place. So we are not positive in any of the government oil companies, because of course BPCL, if it gets into Vedanta, it's a different ball game. But I think any of these large PSU oil companies, we are quite skeptical.
Okay, well, Keshav Goyal has bought Ibulls Housing Finance at 365, wants a short-term view. Aditya, this is a tough one to trade. What's your view here?
Probably I would want to give a view that exit, but since he's already bought into it, I can just give him a support level and put a stop. 275 is your next support level. Put a stop loss at that point. If that is broken, you will see sharper correction in Ibulls Housing Finance. And don't get into stocks which are making 52-week lows. Probably you should be buying stocks which are making 52-week highs. You have a chance, an opportunity to exit even if you get stuck somewhere.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, yes, it's a high beta counter, Ibulls Housing Finance. We've not addressed the technical query on insurance stocks, right, Agar?
No, not yet.
Okay, Aditya, I'll come back to you. So which one's looking better at these levels? SBI Life, ICICI Pru or HDFC Life?
Probably SBI Life definitely stands out. HDFC Life, I'll still wait out for some more consolidation. Closer to about 520 is where I would want to get into. So between ICICI and HDFC, I would go in for ICICI, and SBI and HDFC, I will go for SBI Life. ICICI Pru also, I'll wait out for some correction. So out of these three, probably the top pick will be SBI, followed by HDFC and then ICICI Pru.
All right, let's take up something like, all right, there's quite a few of them. All right, but I'm going to take up bearing stocks. Mr. Harrier, what do you like in terms of SKF, Timken, Schaeffler or NRB? Anything that stands out in this case for you?
SKF, I think, should be a relatively more safe bet compared to the others. So we would probably go for SKF at this point of time.
Okay.
What about between Viniti Organics, Aarti Industries, PI, Naveen, Fluorine? What would you advise?
Naveen has been a stock we have liked really a lot. I think great stock performance, great performance quarter on quarter. The chemicals business is extremely cash generating. So Naveen clearly would be a
at current levels as well?
At current levels, especially after the latest acquisition they have done of 3,000 crores acquisition. I think Naveen to me looks to be an extremely good chemical stock at this point of time.
All right, one more for you, sir. What about Sterlite Technologies? What's your long-term view here?
Slightly difficult because it's a business that is largely linked to telecom, and I think telecom is at this point of time very I would say tumultuous. Hard to take a call what's going to happen in the next 2 months, whether we'll have 3 companies, 2 companies. It's very hard to say. So I think till that happens, I don't think there are going to be any investment commitments. So Sterlite Technology, we've got to be a little cautious at these levels.
Aditya, technical view on TCS?
So yes, it has taken support at a trend line which is 2000, and from there it's bounced back. So 2000 is acting as a good support. Probably you can, if you're already long, put a stop loss at 2000 and hold on to it in hope for a short covering rally to 2150. If you're not long, it's a small stop loss, 35 rupees, 30 rupees stop loss. You can take a punt on long side for target of 2150 to about 2100 on the upside.
Finally, a question where someone isn't asking for what to do and whether or not to buy ITC. We have Ashwin J who wants a downside for ITC. Aditya, what's the view here?
Okay, so yes, a good one, Agam. Finally, somebody is asking the downside. 178 is your immediate support on ITC, which happens to be the 2016 lows, 178. My sense is it will eventually come down to 178. If that holds, probably you can look somewhere there. But good one. Support is at 178.
Okay, I'll stick to ITC and a couple of other FMCG companies. Mr. Harihar, Ashwin is asking, which one would you recommend accumulating at these levels? Will it be ITC, Nestle or Britannia?
Clearly not ITC. I've been an anti-ITC person for a very long time, and I remain anti-ITC because I think this is a low-hanging fruit. Every time the government has a revenue problem, they're going to go and catch ITC.
Absolutely.
So it's a low-hanging fruit, and that is not going to change. Of the other two, I think Nestle to me seems to have a much better product mix compared to Britannia. Britannia has had some problems because the rural expansion they were planning has not happened to the extent that they were planning. But I think Nestle, to me, look at chocolates, look at the noodles. I think they have been doing extremely well on all the fronts. So clearly, I was only hoping that in the correction I would get Nestle a little lower, but that's not happening. But I would still believe that Nestle is the stock to pick.
All right. Mr. Arya, a fundamental view on Thermax and Siemens, not necessarily comparing the two, but the view in general in this space.
See, most of these companies, which are into those heavy equipment, we're a little skeptical, and the reason is that a lot of these people have been telling us that the offtake has not been too great, largely because the capital investments or the new factors are not happening. So, we remain a little cautious on both these names.
Right.
Okay, there's a query on sale on Facebook. Somebody wanted a view on that on back of the auctioning of mines. I'm not too sure if that person is holding the stock. I can't just find the query right now. But your thoughts on sale, Mr. Harrier?
Again, see, SAIL is a steel stock, so we would be a little skeptical of all steel companies till the time there is a turnaround. The auctions you're talking about could be probably a short-term trigger, but I'm not sure how much it could make a difference as far as the valuations of SAIL are concerned. So we remain very, very cautious on most of the metal names.
So if somebody is bought at current levels of 35, what would you suggest?
We're asking people to exit steel altogether. So probably you can hold on to something like Vedanta, which is more of a mineral company than a metal company. But still we are clearly out.
Okay. Well, we have a question on your view of having IT companies in the portfolio at this point in time. Would that be considered a defensive way to play the markets right now, Mr. Arya? See,
in my view, there is nothing defensive in this market, because if you're going to have a coronavirus problem, then I think IT is equally going to get hit, because it's a largely global business. So if you, let's say, have a large portion of a business coming from US, Europe, it's going to get hit. So I don't think there's anything like a defensive bet. But yes, I think in my view, IT is defensive in the sense that if the rupee tanks, then this is probably the one sector that could hold value.
Right.
It may not gain value, but it could hold value. So from that perspective, if we believe that the biggest risk today is that the rupee could crash, I think from that perspective, yes, IT could be a defensive bet.
Okay.
Aditya, what about Havells? I think today as well as yesterday, it's still trading in the positive territory. It's moved above its simple 50 DMA. Somebody's bought at levels of 610, is in the money. What would you advise?
Continue to hold on to it. I believe there's a good covering that the stock can post after a sharp correction from 800 odd levels to 580. Stock is not bouncing back, and I believe this bounce back will sustain the levels of 680. So you can have targets of 680, 700 on the upside. Put a stop loss at your buying price. You will still be making some money, or just about your buying price.
Okay, we see some gains return to the Nifty 50 right now, and the reason why I picked this up because we have a viewer who wants an intraday view at this point in time. Some strength has returned, Aditya, but what levels are you looking at in intraday levels?
So Agam, I believe the short covering rally will follow through as the day progresses. We might see probably another 100-point rally from current levels. I don't rule that out. I'm looking at a target of 11,400, about 11,550 on the upside. My sense is the gap down opening that we'd seen on Friday, probably that gap might just get covered first. And then we'll have the next round of selling. So for me, I'll be a buyer at current levels, probably put a stop at 11,100 and look for a target of 11,500, 600 on the upside.
Okay, just to address certain those important flashes there on your screen, which have come in from Bloomberg. It says India has restricted exports of several API as well as drug formulations. And we just pull up the Nifty Pharma index. I think it was doing pretty well. We marked at the start of the show, it was up about 3%. Let's see if not too much of an impact right now, 3.3%. So it's sustaining the gains. But any initial thoughts here, Mr. Harry?
I don't know, we'll have to see the fine print, what exactly is the kind of restriction they're putting on the exports. But that was something we were expecting because, already most of the pharma companies are facing supply chain issues because they're not able to get the APIs on time. And I think allowing exports at this point of time doesn't really make a lot of economic sense. So there was already an expectation about 15 days back that India could put restrictions on API exports, and I think that has come in. I think No, I wouldn't say substantially, because India still relies on China for about 75 to 80% of their API imports.
So is it due to the shortage which can happen now due to coronavirus? I'm just asking.
Yes.
Right,
yes,
no?
Yes. So what has happened is a lot of these API companies in China are based around the Wuhan and the Hubei province, which are the most affected by the coronavirus. So I think that is the reason APIs have been hit so badly. In most other manufacturing, it is about 15-20% down. APIs are down about 50%.
Right.
So that is what I actually hit. And so the argument is that we have a very few Indian API companies, so they could probably supply to India rather than supplying outside. So I think it's a fair argument, and I think it should be positive for pharma.
Okay, fair enough. In any case, they stand to gain. But we move on to a technical query on Vimta Labs. Bought at 90. Krish has bought this at 90 rupees with a 6-month view. Let's see where Vimta is. It's currently at 95. So he's making a little bit of a profit right now. Aditya?
I would recommend him exit if you're making a little bit of profits. Stock doesn't look all that good to me.
Yeah.
90 is a good support on the downside. If that is broken, you'll see levels of 80 also on the downside. You're making money, it's a good idea to exit.
All right.
Okay, that's Vimta Labs doing well, by the way, in today's trade, up about 5%. Gentlemen, it's time to hit the rapid fire segment. But before we begin, just a small request to both of you, Aditya and Mr. Harihar, keep your answers short so that we can accommodate as many queries as possible in the last 2 minutes of the show. Mr. Harihar, thoughts on Lemon Tree? It's been falling incessantly in last 6 sessions.
I think stay off. Most hospitality stocks are under pressure right now.
Mr. Harihar, your long-term view on Petronet LNG. One of the viewers has bought it at 275.
We like the stock, but I think short term a little doubtful. Long term, we are still positive on the stock.
Okay.
Aditya, view on Muthoot Finance, bought at 830.
Okay, so hold on to it. 845 should be a stop loss.
All right. We also have a query on Tata Motors. I'm going to take a technical view here, considering it has been under pressure of late. Aditya?
So if you've not bought the stock, stay away from it. If you already bought the stock, your stop loss should be 120 on the downside.
Aditya, good time to enter into Bajaj Auto?
No, stay away for some time.
I think Ujjwal Kumar wants a short-term view on HDFC AMC as well. Actually, this is a fundamental view, pardon me. Would you accumulate, Mr. Harihar, HDFC AMC at these levels?
Yeah, I think the stock has corrected from higher levels. I wouldn't kind of jump into the stock and put all the money, but yes, I think it's a stock I would have in my portfolio because I see that as a good play on the growing savings culture in India.
Okay.
Ujjivan Small Finance Bank, bought at 55, time horizon 1 year. Would you advise to stay put?
Yes, I think we like the bank, we like the numbers, and I think that should be one of the outperformers in the SFB space.
Okay. Aditya, would you buy BEML at current market price? This is a question from Krishna.
No, I would avoid.
What about City Union Bank, bought at 217?
City Union Bank, yeah, you can hold on to it. It has already corrected from 245, and it's one of those stocks which doesn't correct much, so 210 should be a stop loss and hold.
Let's pull up United Spirits on a technical basis as well. We have Anand Siva who wants a short-term view on United Spirits. Aditya.
Oh, definitely. It looks good to me. It has already corrected. 640 is a good support for the stock. You hold on to it for targets of 700.
Mr. Harihar, do you like GIC? It's corrected a lot in last 10 sessions.
No, we would stay off the stock.
Mr. Harihar, do you think there's a possibility that IRCTC can correct owing to the coronavirus? This is mostly hopeful.
See, I think there has already been a correction. And we have had 2 cases in India, so I don't think it's too serious. So I would believe that whatever fears are there is more or less factored in. So we don't see further downsides as far as the stock is concerned.
Okay. All right. There you have it, guys. So on that note, I'm going to take a moment to thank both our experts, Aditya and Mr. Harihar, for joining us and taking us through their views and, of course, solving a whole host of our viewer queries.
Remember, we're just a tweet, post, or a call away, so please keep your queries coming, and we promise to address most of them through our shows. For all our previous episodes, please visit our YouTube channel or our website, BloombergQuint.com. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to BloombergQuint for more news and updates.